catch on to the affectional nature of Christianity, conversion. It is not merely a decision to believe a fact. It is a heart treasuring Christ and His glory more than football, sex, money, power, play, toys. You've got to make this an issue Sunday after Sunday so that they feel scared that they're not saved. You know, I think some pastors are so afraid that somebody might walk up at the end of the service and say, "You really jostled my assurance this morning." If we don't jostle people's assurance when they're not saved, we send them to hell. We must preach in such a way so that people can test yourself. 2 Corinthians 13:5 says, test yourself to see if you are in the faith. Well, one of the tests is, do you love football more than you love Jesus? Do you love golf more than you love Christ? What does your heart say about Christ? Late at night, all alone, in front of an internet screen, mouse ready to click, what does your heart say about Christ over pornography? You've got to get in their faces about this, because there are a lot of people who've grown up in the church, Baptist churches, Methodist churches, Presbyterian churches, Catholic, Lutheran churches, for whom their faith is all tradition, all head. There's no power in their life to love Christ, to cherish Christ, to have similar kinds of affections for divine things that they have for earthly things. Make that an issue. So I'm praying that across this convention there would be a one-mindedness that we must all, yes, love justification, love redemption, love propitiation, love deliverance, love the healing power of God, love escape from hell, love entrance into heaven, love restoration with the relatives, but all of it is a means to an end. Namely, do you love Christ? Do you know Christ? Do you embrace Christ? Do you want Christ? If you've got cancer and you don't know how long, can you say from your heart, to die is gain? God will take care of Noel. To die is gain. And feel it. That's a challenge. Then the rubber meets the road. Do you feel this would be good? This would be a gift. This would be sweet. Pastors, let's do this. Let's help our people be saved. I feel that I am taking into my hands in these days eternal souls. And I feel very, very nervous about this, except for God. I feel like I've got people in my hands of two kinds. There are many kinds, but the one kind is I'm so solicitous of the tender soul, so prone to doubt. He or she just kind of hangs on by their fingernails week after week in life. And they're going to sit under these messages with these words. And I know the threat to their soul just to preach about the new birth is going to be like, I don't know if I am. And then there's this other kind of person, so absolutely cavalier about spiritual things. You're here and you're thinking, oh, how long is this going to last? I would really like to get out of here. Because it is of zero interest. Eternity is a blank. Jesus is boring. And a new computer game would be heaven. I mean, that's the other kind of person. And I'm so jealous that person not believe they're born again. How do you do that? How do you preach this message so that this person doesn't go under and this person doesn't? Well, sure. Everybody's born again because we're all imperfect. So, I'm simply saying, as I approach these messages, I feel helpless. I feel like, how do you do this? And I invited you last time, and I invite you again. Would you please pray? This is a very important series in the life of our church. And I cannot handle this on my own. I cannot manage the bigness of these realities with this little mouth and this little brain. God has to move on these services to protect the babies, the little lambs, the little sheep, and to just wallop the other kind so that they know I'm not there. Now, how do you do that? God can do that. God can take 5 loaves and 2 fish and feed 5,000 people. He can take this mouth and caress the lambs and whop the presumptuous. Jeremiah 33:8 clarifies, I think, what is going on here in the water thing. It says, I will cleanse them from all the guilt of their sin against me, and I will forgive all the guilt of their sin and rebellion against me. That assumes, right now, I'm dealing with a person with a record as I put my new spirit within him. I got to deal with the record, and I'm dealing with it with this imagery of water. I'm cleaning him up. I'm canceling it out. I'm going to have my son die for these sins. But forgiveness and cleansing are not enough. This is why both water and spirit, they're not enough. We need a new way of seeing, a new way of thinking, a new way of valuing. If we're going to end up in heaven and want to be there, we need to be new, not just forgiven. Forgiven people who hate spiritual things won't be happy in heaven. And therefore they won't be there. So I want to end on this amazingly hope-filled set of verses. We're back at the text now, Ephesians 2. Verses 4 and 5. Please love these verses. They have meant so much to me in the last couple of days. I paused a few times in my preparation. I closed my eyes and I said, thank you that I'm alive. You come close to dying? Been at the bottom of a pool, have a wave knock the feet out from under you when you're a little kid, just miss a speeding car by a quarter of an inch. How do you feel if your dad sweeps you up and grabs you out of the wave, or you make it to the top of the pool, or took a layer of paint off but didn't kill me? How do you feel? That's what I want you to feel. Only way more. God, being rich in mercy, out of the great love, so rich in mercy, great in love, made us alive. By grace you have been saved. So if you've ever wondered, where's a verse where I can always go to make sure I understand the word mercy, the word love, and the word grace? There it is. Let's go there. It's so clear. I was dead. Mercy was rich. Grace was free. Starts to sound like a gospel song. Mercy there was grace, and grace was free. Pardon there was multiplied for me. Grace, mercy, love, because He made us alive. We are apt to teach, correcting, gently loving, displaying, hopefully, some of the glories of Christ in our way of loving our enemies. Demon, oppressed and controlled enemies, even if they like us. And God may, and this is the new birth happening here, grant them repentance. What's that? You know the word metanoia? Change. Or maybe like this. Suddenly, what was boring or hated is interesting and necessary and beautiful and crucial, and everything is changing unto a knowledge of the truth. And you know what Jesus said about truth? You will know the truth, and the truth will finish it. From everything by which you're bound through sin and Satan. So the sequence seems to be, we do teaching. I'm going to get to this in a couple of weeks about how the new birth is brought about. But here we're talking, we're loving. And God may open, regenerate, change, heart transplant, give faith, give repentance, knowledge happens. You remember this illustration I've used before. I love it. I'll use it again. In the dark, we get this brooch hanging around our neck. We love to fondle it. It's just our favorite brooch. And then the gift of light is given, and we look down. It's a cockroach. It's a cockroach hanging on this string around my neck. We rip it off and we throw it away. That's what happens when you're born again.